Theresa May's business policies?
Not a lot. It's like being back in the 70s. I just hope we don't actually find ourselves back in the 70s.
Yep.
I think most of the campaigning isn't really addressing the real issues. The issues which the British public seems to be concerned about, none of the political leaders want to take on because they're not things they want to discuss, like immigration. They talk about it in a very high-level basis, but they don't actually want to say what they actually would do because they actually don't know what they would do.
Yep.
And when it comes to the economy, they don't know what they're going to do there either. So they play around on the fringes. It's like watching a business which has a real fundamental problem, and the CEO is saying what packaging should we use.
And how does that end then? If none of the main parties have a plan for the economy, what next for the economy?
Well, I think to a large extent, Britain has lost control of its economy. The vote for Brexit was theoretically a vote to get control, but actually for the next at least 2 years, we actually aren't in control of our own destiny at all. We're now waiting to see just how hard the Europeans want to be on us and just how hard our response to that is. And at the moment, there's lots of posturing by both sides, which one hopes won't come to reality, because if it does come to reality, it's going to be very destructive for the UK economy, and it's not going to be very positive for the European economy.
Let's talk about some specifics. Theresa May is talking about putting representation from the workers onto board. She's talking about scrutinising M&A. On both of those issues, how would either of those two factors make a difference to the way you think about investing?
Putting workers on boards makes no difference at all.
Right.
I've operated in Germany, and frankly, in some ways it's good because you actually do have the unions and the workers having to take more responsibility for what they say and how they do things. So we actually found it a very positive experience. In some ways, it's a non-experience, because what you also find is you end up with a informal board occurring over lunch, and then the board gets back together and you invite the union members in and you've made all the decisions anyway. So it's frankly, it's either a positive or it's a waste of time. My guess is in the UK it will largely be a waste of time. M&A, the rules will be what the rules are. If they make M&A transactions more difficult, it just reduces the price. So, it would be costed in. In some ways, the worse the business environment is in the UK, and the more the politicians can mess it up, the more opportunity there is. It's an awful thing, but when you sit there as an investor, as opposed to somebody who's actually working in the system, you actually benefit from politicians messing things up. Now, and I've said this all the way through, I think Brexit was an absolutely disastrous decision. But for my business, it's a great decision in terms of giving us opportunities. I'd far rather not be making that money from those opportunities.
Guy, Matt Miller here in Sicily. Can you tell us about some of those opportunities? I mean, what specifically have you changed in your investment strategy? Where have you made money, or where do you see the best opportunities because of the Leave referendum winning in the referendum?
Yeah, yes, I mean, what's largely happened is because most of our investors are non-UK, they're in foreign currencies, things have got substantially cheaper for them. In terms of the opportunities you're seeing, it's a little bit like it was prior to the Labour government back in the late 90s. There were lots of opportunities out there because people just didn't want to take the risk of buying things because they were scared of the political environment. So we're seeing businesses out there which are founder businesses which people have owned for a very long time, and they're scared about what happens in the next 4 or 5 years. They're saying, do they really want to take a 10-year view? They don't, and therefore they're looking to sell. They want to sell reasonably quietly. They don't want a lot of publicity, and they will accept in sterling a number which is a little bit down from where they would have been a year ago. But when you translate it into foreign currencies, it's a long way down. So effectively, it's a little bit like the Chinese buying London property. You can buy it, the UK is just a lot cheaper. That hasn't been translated yet to the average person in the UK. They don't realise just how much value the UK has lost since the Brexit vote.